So, folks, I'm here to let you know I was on another episode of the Transatlantic Call-In Show. It's a show hosted on The Line, and it's a show for people to call in and ask about different trans topics, trans news, ask for advice, or want clarification on an issue, or even want a spicy debate. So, all kinds of different people call into the show. It's really, really cool. And on this particular episode, I was co hosting with Dr. Ben, and it was an absolute delight. And, I think some of the best content that I've put out there. So do check it out. You can actually find a link to the full episode down below in the description. And I hope you enjoyed this call, or you do enjoy this call rather, because I've really enjoyed all of my episodes on the line, and I really hope you guys do too. The Transatlantic Call-In Show program is broadcast every Thursday. I'm on it, generally speaking, right now, every other Thursday, but go check it out. It's really cool. Also, a bunch of the other people who host shows over there, really cool, really interesting. You might find other programs that you really like. Go check it out. Link down below, by the way, also to the channel, The Line, as well as their Patreon and their merch store. Go support them if you can. And also, folks, like this video and comment on this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Go do those things. And also, since there's a link to the original episode down below, consider also leaving a like and a comment and a subscribe over there, because we want this to benefit both programs. So go do the things. Tune in live. I hope you enjoy this call. Let's see what we got.
Let's talk with Connor. Pronouns are any, all from Kentucky. What would you like to talk about, Connor?
Yeah, so I kind of just wanted to ask about sort of how the intersection of gender and sexuality works in a framework where you're not talking about your sexuality in terms of genitals or like femme or masc. Like, what does it mean to be like gay or lesbian if you're just attracted to the label and not like one of those two other things? Or straight, for that matter.
I think it's attraction to a gender identity, right? Like you're attracted to people who identify as men, people who identify as women, broadly, as a broad generalization, right?
Yeah, I guess like the position I'm sort of coming from is I'm like pansexual and agender, so my view on those things are kind of more like I don't really have a thing to go on internally for those. So like I guess it's like if I'm a gay man and I'm like looking at other men, but I don't care about like the genitals or whatever, that's fine. And I don't necessarily care if they're a masculine or feminine man, and it's basically just like it's just an internal sense of being a man. What does that necessarily mean that I like don't like women? Like, what about women do I not like besides them saying that they're a woman?
I mean, I think that like when we are ascribing sexuality to ourselves, we're kind of making a broad statement. Like if you're saying, not if you're saying like a cis woman saying that she's straight, right, is not necessarily saying that she is attracted to every person who identifies as a man. There are going to be men who are more or less attractive to that particular cis woman, and like what qualities are more or less attractive are going to be subjective to that particular woman, right? Like, so what we're saying is kind of not super specific when we are talking about sexuality. It's mostly just a broad strokes general categorization for other people to help kind of like figure us out that we ascribe to.
Okay. And like, I guess what I was talking about was sort of a specific-ish scenario, because like like I understand people who are like, oh yeah, I call myself gay because I just like penis and that's them. And then there are some people who are like, yeah, I'm gay because I sort of like the form of a man, quote unquote, of like a masculine person. But like my partner is a man with long hair, loves pink, all of those things, and doesn't have a penis. So like it's sort of, if a person who was ascribing themselves to be gay in that manner was in the same kind of relationship as I am, what would be the thing that they're like attracted to? And I guess the thing that sort of comes to mind is like, you know, you've seen the not sob stories, but like the heartwarming story of woman whose husband turns out to be their wife after 20 years. And it's like those, I understand that because you're attracted to that person, not their genitals or their gender. But like, what does it mean to be like, there are these two identical people in front of you, but one of them says that they're a man, one of them says you're a woman. And you're like, yeah, I would just pick this other person because they have the label man or woman, respectively.
I think kind of where Riverboat Jack was coming from a minute ago is kind of maybe where I would see this. Like maybe flip it on its head instead of thinking, like I'm using this label to include like to specifically say like who am I attracted to and that kind of stuff. Instead, maybe that's the label that you're communicating to other people, but it's exactly that. Like your attraction is usually to a person. Like you're attracted to a person, and that person may fit multiple different labels, but when you say I'm gay or I'm lesbian or any number of those things, oftentimes that person that you're attracted to falls under certain umbrellas. And so it's a way for you to say, typically, the person that I would be attracted to is under this umbrella. It's not saying that you're not attracted to anybody else, like, because people, like, your sexuality is on a spectrum for pretty much everybody. Like, there's very few people that are 100% attracted to men only or women only or like certain genitals only. Like, that's very, very rare. I think like I'm a person who I would identify as asexual but biromantic, and so I get into some very weird things in my own head of like, okay, but I've had attractions to people sexually, but for the most part I want nothing to do with genitals, and so you can narrow it down to a lot of these very, very minute details, but at the end of the day, that's not what the label is trying to do. The label is trying to distill all of that down to an easier way to communicate yourself to somebody else or yourself to another partner, or potential partner. And so if you say, you know, if you're on a date with somebody and you say, hey, I'm a gay trans man or I'm a lesbian trans woman, it's like, okay, you can get an idea kind of how compatible you are. If you are, let's say you are attracted to each other, but you're not really compatible in that way, maybe you're just not a good fit. And you go on and you find somebody else. And so it's not, I don't think the label is meant to replace thinking through those other details, but it's just, it's an easier way to communicate some of those things. And so I think I think it's okay that when one person says gay, they might mean something different than when another person does. But then you have to think about the utility of when I say this word, what do other people think of? Like, if I'm trying to use this word in a specific way, does the other person know what I mean? And so I think that's where I lean with all of that.
Yeah, it's a shorthand to communicate something that might be, in fact, very complicated. Like, you know, in my right now, I'm thinking of how many men who have said, you know, I'm a straight man, but I wouldn't say no to Idris Elba. I'm a straight man, but that Ryan Gosling, I was watching Project Hail Mary, and boy howdy, he's attractive.
We're all gay
Like,
for Ryan Reynolds.
yeah, like there is like a spectrum there, but those people would still probably say like, well, I'm straight. That's just a crazy exception that would never happen, right? And so there's nebulousness, but it's shorthand to try and convey general information. And obviously, if you wanted more specific information, you'd have to like engage in a conversation with that person to figure out like what their preferences are, what they like, what they don't like, because attraction for different people is different.
Okay. Do you think that, like, for people who use those kinds of labels, does that, do you think a lot of people miss out on people they might otherwise enjoy, whether romantically or sexually, where they just kind of exclude that person from their set of potential, like, boyfriends
Yes.
slash girlfriends or
Yes.
partners in general? Do you think that that happens?
Yeah, I think that that is a remnant of kind of how we got here. Like the whole concept of the default straight relationship. I think there's a lot of issues just with how we're taught to engage with like romantic and sexual partners. I think there's a lot of baggage in our society about how if you are a man, you act in this way, and you assume that your partner is going to act in this way, and that's not really realistic. And so you just end up falling into these places that you were told to be in, but don't actually identify with. And so I think a lot of people try to maintain that because it's easier socially to stay within those confines. But I think the more people that start to explore their identities, um, I think it's more freeing to be outside of that. But I think a lot of people still carry that baggage, and I think especially a lot of men carry that baggage because of how like society is a lot more forgiving for like queer women because they're already in this not man category of society. Whereas you have
And they're also
men,
kind of pornified, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah, and then it's the same thing with queer men. Like a lot of queer men are also not considered to be the right kind of man, and so it's a lot easier for some people, or it seems a lot easier for some people to maintain that mask of a cishet man so that they don't become one of those other people. So I do think that more people identify on more of a spectrum than are willing to admit.
Yeah, and I do want to say I don't think that's the problem of labels or general categories. That's more like you like Dr. Ben was saying, like uh the baggage of patriarchy, kind of these historical biases that have been passed down to a lot of people and internalized by a lot of people. And those biases are and prejudices are what prevent them from actually exploring their identity beyond kind of these broad categories. Because again, like a lot of people just they choose not to think about it. They're like, well, I'm in this category and I'm just not going to think about it too much. And it's those prejudices that I think we need to work on as a society and kind of address. But, the general idea of categories and shorthand for referring to your likes and dislikes, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I guess my the situation I'm imagining in my head is like this person who, for example, is like a lesbian woman has the like I can't even like basically just a cis woman in front of them, but this isn't a cis woman because they're actually a trans man who just is fine with being femme. And like, what does it mean for that lesbian woman to be like, I wouldn't date this person because they're a trans man, even though like it doesn't come with any of the baggage of what might come with being a man. But I guess like that's I don't know how often that actually happens, but then again, it's not like they'd ever really get a seat at the same table. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, it's also worth noting that like different groups of people who are not, men still internalize elements of the patriarchy and can fall into the same kind of denial of various other categories of people that they might otherwise be interested in, you know?
And I think there's an element too of people feeling like they need to earn their labels. And I think that's also a result of the patriarchy, and feeling that you don't deserve anything unless what you can prove to society. I think it's also a capitalist thing, um, but and even just baseline a human thing.
Men
Uh,
gotta be men gotta be strong and have money, I guess, because those
yeah,
those things are so true and important.
but even so, it's like people having to explain to like friends and family members, like if they were to uh start dating a trans guy, and then it's like, okay, but you said you were a lesbian, why are you dating a man? It's like, and then having to go
I've
through
been
all
in this
those.
exact scenario.
Yep.
Yeah, so I can see like a lot of people feeling like in order to wear the label of lesbian, they have to always be in a relationship with a woman, and like that's not necessarily true. You might be in a relationship with the one exception that we kind of talked about earlier, and so that can be, and this is where it's nice to have, like with friends, have these deeper conversations of, yeah, like here's the term that I use and here's why I use this one. Um, but I know for people just randomly in public, or like let's say if you were trying to get like a marriage certificate or something, and for some reason you started getting harassed by the people at the courthouse, which hopefully wouldn't happen. But I mean, people ask questions when it's not always appropriate to, and um, so I can see where people don't want that extra step of feeling like they have to prove their identity in some way. But I do think that there are people out there that would be happy outside of that box they
It,
gave themselves. But
it's
Yeah,
sort of
and it is.
secondhand, but
Oh,
literally my partner went through this because they're a trans man and they were dating a trans man before me. And then when they started dating me, their parents asked them like, "So you're still a man, right?" As if suddenly dating a person with a penis over a person with vagina would change their gender suddenly. Like nothing changed. I'm still a man dating men.
um, yeah, the comment about like having to earn your label, I very much resonate with that. I've talked about this a little bit, but when I first started transitioning, I didn't feel like I had earned the label of trans woman. So like I kind of had like this interstitial period where I was like talking about myself as like a non-binary person and was just kind of like I know I'm not cis, but am I a trans woman? Can I call myself that? I'm not sure. And so, it's, the categories and like the feeling of needing to earn it, it's all so much bullshit that we've inherited from, wider society in so many
Therapy.
different cases.
Yeah, I understand that as well. Like it's something that I felt very, because like, before I kind of understood myself to be agender, I was a gay man and then a bisexual man and then a pansexual man and then now I'm where I'm at now. And I like through that time having to sort of like pr- almost like prove that I'm gay by being more, to be a little derogatory, limp wristed. Like I had to be very effeminate and oh my gosh. But I mean, now those are things I just enjoy doing kind of in my free time, but not really to prove myself to anybody. But I understand that sort of proving the label. It's, I think, something that most, if not like 99% of the queer community has to go through in some sort of way, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a kind of a
Hell,
deconstruction
even
of
out of the queer community.
yeah, kind of a deconstruction of like patriarchal ideas of gender and sexuality. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think I had my question thoroughly answered. I really enjoyed talking to both of you, and I'm glad to have been able to hear this. I was genuinely sort of like on the fence of wondering how that sort of works, and like in my head, without like using it in accusatory terms. Like, at what point is it just kind of like sexism? But I think I've got a better understanding of it now that I can like safely put that away. And I really appreciate talking to you all. So I won't take any more of your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for your call.
Absolutely.
All right,
Bye-bye.
have a great day.
Bye.
All right.
A productive call.
Yeah, that was an
Go.
interesting one too.
Yeah. Whew. That was a call. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope it was cathartic. I hope it was interesting. And also, I hope you leave a comment letting us know what you thought about it down below. You can also leave a comment over on the original episode, of course. Link down below on that one as well. Go subscribe to The Line. Link below. Go check out their Patreon. Link below. Go check out their merch store. Link below. It's amazing all the different things you can link down there. Who knew? Anyway, do all the things, click all the buttons, leave all the comments. You know the drill by now, and do call in if you have a burning question about trans people. And last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. It's gender euphoric lingerie designed with trans femmes in mind. It's a really, really cool new brand. Go check them out. ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down below in the description to that as well. It is non-tucking lingerie that is elegant, that is high quality, that is beautiful, and it will fit. So go check it out. Again, link down below in the description. And also go check out Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben's content is great. Go check him out. Go do the things. I believe in you guys. And on that note, let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, being plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.